And I feel like there's a lot of pressures for youth pastors as well. A lot of times for them, they're working with limited resources. They're usually called to be one-man armies. At the same time, there's a pressure for them to keep track with the adult ministries. Parents, you are your kids' first and strong foundation. You are the model in which they see to lead with compassion and not control. Compassion is one thing that we see Jesus model everywhere. Understand that your kids understand you. Kids know what you're trying to convey. Hi, my name is James. I've been a youth pastor in the Korean American Church for about 18 years now, serving in the dynamics of first and second gen churches for the kingdom.
All right. What is one thing you wish church leaders knew about the challenges youth pastors face?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I feel like being in ministry for 18 years, predominantly in the youth, I feel like a lot of times there's a pressure for youth ministries to look like a stepping stone into adult ministries. And because of that, there is a lot of pressure for youth pastors to prove their worth and their abilities to other leaders that they could do the next step. But I would say for youth pastors, I would say that ministry or youth ministry is like a bridge. It is like the lifeblood of the church. If you take away the whole CE or education department, see where your church would stand. You need them. And I feel like they supply a lot of the life of the church to grow healthy and together. And I feel like there's a lot of pressures for youth pastors as well. A lot of times for them, they're working with limited resources, without associate pastor. They don't have a full fledged production team with media and graphics. They're usually called to be one-man armies. At the same time, there's a pressure for them to keep track with the adult ministries. And I feel like with all that in mind, there's a lot going against them. So one of the things I want to encourage a lot of our church leaders is not only to be aware of those things for our youth pastors, but to encourage them that they are not alone in this fight together. Help them, advocate for them, not only verbally, but also financially too, because a lot of youth pastors are trying to make it out there and they need all the support that they can. And lastly, I would say pray for them. They need all the prayer that they need, especially against our culture, against the things that we see in our society. They need all the spiritual support to do God's work here in His kingdom.
What encouragement would you give to immigrant parents raising teenagers in the U.S.?
I think if I was to give any encouragement, I would say first, parents, you are your kids' first and strong foundation. You are the model in which they see. You are the very picture of what it means to be a Christian or Christ-like figure in this world. And I want to encourage parents to remind themselves of that. But second, I also want to encourage them is to embrace your students. At the same time, don't fear the change. And the reason why I say that is that adolescents, and especially teenage years, are the years where kids are changing a lot, especially with their identity formation, what they're hearing, what they're learning, what they're seeing, even in just in their generation of where they're growing up. And because of that, a lot of times we fear the change that we see in their lives. And a lot of times because of that, it creates a disconnect between a mother and a son, or a father and their daughter, or vice versa. Lead with compassion and not with control. Is a word that one of my mentor figures actually shared to me that really resonated deep in my heart, to lead with compassion and not control. I feel like in our generation now, a lot of our parents are leading with or parenting by what was missing in their lives. So if they didn't have the certain type of opportunity, they want to see those opportunity happen in their own kids' lives. So they want their kids to go a certain way, go a certain path, and be there by a certain time. But however, I would say more than trying to control their upbringing, to lead them with compassion, Compassion is one thing that we see Jesus model everywhere throughout the scriptures. And I will say, when you speak that compassion and show that compassion, you will see a lot of change within your students and a lot of opening for those conversations and deep stories that you could resonate with them. And lastly, to be kind to yourself. I know parenting is hard, and every generation is gonna have its own challenges. And I want to just encourage all the parents to be kind to yourself. One day's mistake does not equal like forever like turmoil to your kids' lives. There's grace in that. Be kind to yourself and understand that your kids understand you. Kids know what you're trying to convey.
So, what is one thing you wish parents understood about the role of the church in their teenagers' life?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I would say the church, I want to remind our parents that the church is their support, but not a substitute for their child's journey. I say that because so many times we see the church as a place where we could just drop off our students as like a dry cleaning service. But the church is more than that. The church cannot replace your role as a father. The church cannot replace your role as a mother. It's there to support and come alongside with you and your family to help you grow together in a Christ-like follower, to be like a Christ-like follower. And so many times we see the church to be the substitute rather than the support. And so I want to encourage our parents to be involved as the primary Christian educator of their house. To encourage their families to read the scriptures together, to worship together, and to show what it looks like to be a Christ follower. Parents, one of the things I want to encourage is that your influence is greater than what you think. And the reason why I say that is that you play such a big role into your spiritual growth of your child and their spiritual formation. One of the stories I would like to share is one of my cousin and my aunt. My aunt was a prayer warrior. And being a prayer warrior, she would pray oftentimes 5 in the morning in her closet in her small apartment that we used to have. My cousin, growing up not really knowing of the faith, really didn't understand what was happening. And he used to always make fun of my aunt for doing that, or his mom for doing that, praying 5 in the morning, and why is she doing this? She's wasting her time and stuff like that. But over time, as he started to witness and see and hear the prayers that his own mom was praying for the family and for him and his own salvation, when he finally got saved, all those blessings of prayers that has been accumulating over time felt like it all poured down onto him. I share that story because I felt like that's kind of a illustration of how your influence play a key role into the formation of your child. For my cousin, because of that, he was making fun of his mom many years, but he finds himself now in the closet praying for his own kids and his own family. And I felt like that was modeled from his own mom. And so your influence, your modeling as a believer plays a huge role into your child's development and your growth and walk with Christ.
Sola Network exists to influence the emerging generation of Asian Americans and those who lead them with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Find our articles, book reviews, podcasts, and more at sola.network. If you would like to partner with Sola Network through collaboration, networking, volunteering, or giving, please contact us through the website.